Montgomery County Council members attended the 4th Annual National Conference on Ending Poverty. The conference was hosted by the organization A Wider Circle and was attended by 750 people. Local elected officials discussed effective strategies aimed at eliminating poverty, where it exists now, and how concerned citizens can best work with their elected representatives to create change.
I know we really can't end poverty. I know it's naive to say we can do it, that if you really think about it, it's just too big, that people have been trying, and it's nice to say we're going to end it, but we really can't do it. Well, everybody knew we would never end slavery because too many personal lives and too many economies were tied to it, so it's never going to end. Everyone knew that women would never get the right to vote. President Grover Cleveland once said that the wise and responsible woman would not want to vote. That was 15 years before the 19th Amendment was passed. Just 15 years. Everyone knew that whites and blacks would never sit at the same place in a restaurant, never have the same kind of job, never go to the same schools. Everybody knew that. That was only 10 years before the Civil Rights Act was passed. Change happens, and we will end poverty.
I think that Montgomery County is a reflection of our country. It's an extraordinary place to live, and we have everything. So we have, socioeconomic diversity, we have ethnic, religion diversity, racial diversity. We have to be very mindful. I don't think that we necessarily have problems or challenges. We have opportunities.
Montgomery County has been in the forefront on so many of these points, particularly in healthcare. We fund a number of services in the social service scheme that support families who, without regard to income.
By the federal standard, which is very, very poor, like $20,000 for a family of 4, about 3.5% of our population is under that amount. That doesn't sound very high, and we congratulate ourselves, but that's 35,000 people. That's the size of a small city. As we heard during our panel here, it's estimated that for a single mom with children to get along in Montgomery County, you need a wage of about $78,000 to afford housing and, feed your families.
So there's a lot of interesting discussion about how we go forward, and I know there's a lot of talk about the spiritual importance, a secular spiritual importance to dealing with the issue of poverty in the county, and I understand that on a level that it would be great if everybody could come to an understanding. But I also look at it as there are concrete conditions that actually create poverty, and it's not that you're waiting for Walmart to grow a soul. The fact is that low wages, make it impossible for people to put a roof over their head. Low wages cause families to make choices between rent and food or rent and medical care.
Well, I think when it comes to the Montgomery County Coalition for the Homeless, Stepping Stone Shelter, Progress Place, we're supporting a large number of nonprofits, including, of course, the host for today, Wider Circle, to make sure that we can do our part to help our nonprofits. Government always relies on partners in our community, whether it's helping to identify or whether it's also helping to brainstorm about particular ideas in which we can try and address these problems.
I think conferences like this are a great start because they put policymakers in touch with advocates, and they help advocates and more members of the public understand what's going on at the legislative level to address the issues that are on their minds. But we really need a much greater, broader conversation that this conference aspires to begin about how to address poverty and how to really end it. It has a very high aspiration to ending poverty, at least in Montgomery County.
The question has been said, do we need a movement to end poverty? And I think we do need a movement to end poverty. And so any conversation like this, and Mark Burgell is at the forefront of that conversation, is one that many of us want to support. And then we learn, we hear things, we have little aha moments where we say, oh, that's a different way of thinking about this. And often I say you never solve a problem on the same level that it was created. Actually, Albert Einstein said that. So you come to forums like this to hear different ways of achieving a result that is at the heart of the human condition.